Welcome to the Microsoft Security Insight Show. The show streams live at 5 every Wednesday evening on YouTube and Twitch and streamed directly into your ear the following Monday. Hosted by Edward Walton, Andrea Fisher, Rod Trent, and Brodie Cassell, the Microsoft Security Insight Show provides information, news, and tips on Microsoft security solutions.
Recorded January 4th, 2023. Good afternoon, Andrea. Good afternoon, Brodie. How you guys doing?
Afternoon, Edward.
Yes, good afternoon, my friends.
Doing
It's
well.
5 o'clock afternoon or evening.
Tipping in.
Late afternoon. I call 6 evening. That's just me, though. That's my opinion.
Well, it is the acceptable time to begin cocktails, which makes me think that it leads towards evening, but
There we go.
you know what? I'm not a stickler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not stickler either.
It's 3 p.m. here.
It's beer o'clock somewhere.
Beer.
And I'm
How you
all
doing?
about it.
Did you get a bunch of beer for Christmas, Edward? I used to get a beer advent calendar from my local craft brewing place, but then they started getting quite expensive. I don't know if you get beer for Christmas or not.
I think the last little beer gift I got, one of my peers, Beth, sent me like a box or something. I'm about to say Andrea did, but Andrea sent me bagels or something like that. That was the last box I got. But as far as beer, I found a Christmas 12-pack of my favorite brewery, Clown Shoes. And I tell you, the labels and the names of the beer, hilarious, right? So maybe on another show, I'll gather them all up. But no, it's over the holidays, I didn't really drink much.
Good for you.
Edward, I don't know if it's me, but I feel like you sound really far away. Is that just me?
Maybe me.
There we go.
How about that?
Edward's headset. He's not really here mentally because Edward was in a very warm, amazing place over the past few weeks. You want to tell us about your little vacation there, Edward? We can all talk about what we did over the holidays.
A little bit, and then I'll cap it off with a couple of security stories. So
Great.
The missus and I decided not to spend Christmas at home, so we decided to go on a cruise. And we stayed around until Christmas Day. Took the last flight to Miami. Get to Miami Christmas evening. It was cold. I mean, not cold like in Atlanta where we were like in the teens, but miserable, wind blowing, in the upper 30s. Like, is this Miami? So we stayed there for a day and a half, or a day and 2 nights, day and a half, one of the two. And we cruised out of there. So we decided to go on the all-adult cruise line Virgin Voyages by Richard Branson, the Virgin Atlantic person. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been on a cruise since 2015, maybe. So it was different in a good way.
Okay.
There were no rugrats running around, all over the place like a Disney cruise, right? I think you had to be 21 or above to be on. You had to be an adult, right? There were 0 kids. No formal nights. Totally different category of restaurant types of a sort. If you've ever been on a cruise, a galley is a galley, except for you can't do any buffet. You sit at your table, the minute you sit down, sensor goes on, person comes over, scan the QE, and they bring you your food. Right. So you get to walk around all the choices that they have. 24-hour breakfast, burger, fries, hot dogs, salad bar. They had bento boxes, were probably one of the only things you could just grab because they were making 5 different types of bento boxes, or sushi with the little stuff around it, right? So that was decent. Ship is new, so it's clean. Not a very large ship. Capacity 2,000, 25, maybe. Right? Well, they were at capacity. Room was good. We got the warm weather. Ports, we went to Roatan, which is an island that's been bequeathed to Honduras by the Commonwealth, but it's not really Honduras proper. It was okay. When you leave the port area, it sort of disturbs me to see, the poverty
All right.
and things like that. That bothers me. I don't like to go places where I feel like I'm an exploitative native coming in, right?
It's fair.
But people were friendly, and then we went to Costa Maya. I think that's right. Yeah, Costa Maya, which was, I guess it's Mexico. Same thing. You've been to Mexico. You've been to sea, and it was okay. It was hot there. It was 80 something. So I actually started sweating. It had to be like 85, 86. And then we went to Bahamas, which is Benemy, which is the private beach owned by the cruise line. And of course, white sands and beach chairs and stuff as far as you can see, and cabanas. So to get away and not have to think about what am I going to wear, where am I going to go eat, what to do. So there were shows. We signed up for a few shows. Some of them were very risque.
Ooh.
This is a family-friendly show. I won't even tell you half of the shenanigans that was going on.
That's for the after show, the VIP show.
It's a VIP show. Hey, we're having a VIP subscriber, show option, right? For those who want to hear the tidbits. And so, yeah. Didn't have any beer that I like. I make it a point not to drink American beer when I'm not in America. I want to try something different. So the stuff that they had, it wasn't good. I'm like, I'll do it out. As far as spirit drinks, maybe 4 over the entire period, maybe. But fans only show. Yeah, only
that's
fans.
what I was laughing at. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up there.
Yeah. And that's being very straight and narrow, so we don't get canceled on TV. I on the show.
We got Ann coming on in a month. Let's keep it together here. Let's keep it together. All right.
Once Ann is come and gone, then I'll tell you guys the details. Maybe post show, pre show.
Then we might have another person. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil anything that's not official yet. Okay.
So it was good. I slept a lot. I took me a nap like every day. I read a ton of books to the point my eyes were fatigued. I started seeing these little wavy things in the side, and I was like, man, what's going on? But my eyes were just tired because I was reading and catching up on all my magazines and books Andrea had given me. I downloaded a bunch of PDFs. I was sort of studying but not working. I made sure I didn't take a work laptop. I took like a Chromebook or something.
Okay.
And so, sit by the pool a little bit. I'm not a pool person. And plus, yes, only fans at the pool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it must have been a contest on what's the least amount of fabric you can use, right?
Noted. Okay, noted.
The crew was super friendly. If you are not a cruiser and you're reluctant to go on one, if this is going to be your first cruise, give Virgin Voyages a try. Give them a try.
Okay.
If you are a experienced cruiser like my wife I sort of came on the tail end. It is much different than what you probably experienced. Now, some things are going to be similar, right? You got to be on the ship. Got to get on and off. Got a stateroom, cabin room, whatever they call it. And you know how it is. But when you get there, you'll see that it's very very deliberate. Everything put in a spot, and you can get stuff fairly quickly. It was all right. I have 2 stories. That was it. We had a good time. I didn't spend any money. I didn't buy a single thing, not a bottle, not a trinket, nothing. Right. This is one of the cheaper. I just didn't feel.
Stuff.
Yeah, I got enough stuff.
Well, it sounds like Andrea loaded you up with homework, so I mean that was enough stuff for the week, I suppose.
Well, Andrea loaded me up with homework. Oh, you mean all the book? Well, she always sends me stuff. Right? So
That's nice. That's nice.
I try to make it a point to read them, and most of the books she sent me, you could get through them. You know, they're not like War and Peace, right? So you can get through them. They're very, and then she probably kill me for this. I highlight everything in the book, so they're useless after you give them to me. I get to highlighting them and underlining. I was a librarian's worst nightmare. So other than that,
Cool.
food was all right. I'm not a hamburger guy. I'm never really have been an adult. I ate more hamburgers. They were the best meal on the ship. You go to the grill, and they were good. I had a gluttonous moment, and the guy said, "How many patties?" I said, "Put 4. Put 4 patties in here." So I got them on the table. I stood up like I was doing CPR, and I mashed them down. And then and they will mash down, and then I ate them, and I didn't feel good. So there you go.
What a story.
So that's what it was. So
Great.
quick security story, and then a different story. So as I'm apt to do, I'm a wanderer. I like to go places where you tell I can't go. I get on the elevator that says crew and and staff only. And so I'm lurking around the ship like I'm a stowaway. So I happened upon their data center. Wide open.
Wide open, like there was no door, or the door was unlocked and you opened it.
The door was unlocked and I opened it.
Okay.
Because it wasn't labeled. It just
okay.
It was something. So I go in there, I'm like,
you're just trying random doors.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. All right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I go in, ease the door behind me. I felt like I was in Ocean's 11 Mission Impossible. I'm like, so it should have stopped there.
Yeah, I probably should have stopped before that, but yeah.
Oh my God. There is a business for security people in the cruise line industry. Trust and believe. All right. So it's interesting on what they use on the cruise lines. It's very modular. Of course, the big name boxes. And then I got an idea of why wireless and telephones on the ship are so crappy. Only if you don't know what VLAN to get on. So I'm not going to incriminate myself by saying, well, Ed, you walked in there, you didn't have a laptop. No, I didn't. So
gotcha.
And then they leave. The height of the cabins are like, I'm short. What am I, 5'2"? I touched the top of the ceiling. Just took the access point off. Take a look at it. Oh, Ethernet port. I wanted this backhauled. Click. Next thing you know, I was like, I get what they're trying to do here. They're putting 2 VLANs on here, guess, and then they put the Ethernet port on a separate VLAN for maintenance on these access points. All right, no NAC, no anything. So when you get down there, you're talking about neat. Oh, they could everything. The cable management was perfect. Everything's super labeled down. Don't put your IP addresses on the back end of your cables and stuff like that. Don't identify them as WAN and stuff. And but no, I didn't bother anything. Just came on out of there. I took a couple pictures, and then and I got out. Right, there would have been no explanation of why are you there. That's right. Dymo relabels. I'm working on one right now. So that was the security piece. If board security people are probably on the same segment you are on. Careful. I ran a port scan against. You can just see everybody's stuff: iPhones, laptops, everything.
Edward, are you
vacation?
Not...
It's
yeah,
a vacation, weirdo.
That too, weirdo. Love
no.
And aren't you? No. Are you not a certified information systems security professional who took an oath not to, without proper authorization, access systems outside of your control, Edward?
I bought internet on the ship. Gives me access at $80 a pop
for the week.
For the cruise per person.
For the cruise. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't do it by the room. They did it by your login. Right?
Okay.
But once you logged in across any device, right? It'll just ask you, give me your login, give me your cabin number, and they ask for one more piece of information, and it'll just log you in.
And you can port scan from your public Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's okay. I thought you were actually like plugging in and.
Oh no.
Okay. I thought you took the Chromebook down there and an Ethernet adapter and just.
They threw my butt in the brig.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to be brigged. So it was just, my old days when I first got started networking, looking around, and it wasn't shabby. Spent money, just a glance like that's not cheap. That's not cheap, right? So, that's all I did. I did that. I downloaded every Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian, the omnibus. So I've been reading Conan the Barbarian for like a week. It's actually pretty good.
The Edgar Rice Burroughs ones, the old ones?
Old ones, yes. Look at Andrea. Ernie Chan there.
I read those in like middle school.
Oh man, it was good. And so I did that, and then so let me give you the thing that breaks up the story from being typical. So we're steaming along, and the ship comes to a halt. Sort of that noise too. And it's in the middle of the Michigan TSU game. So when they stopped the boat, the captain came on to make an announcement, and all the screens go blank. So you know it was an outroar. Oh, people are tearing up the place. Going on. All the Michigan people, right?
Of course.
So you couldn't hear because it kept yakking. So I stepped away. I told the guy, watch my seat. Let me go out to the outboard to see what's going on. And so we had come across a boat full of migrants. Had to be 35, 40. And the ship stopped to take them on.
Right. Has to. Maritime law.
Yeah. Maritime law. Yep.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, nowhere being relative. We were steaming toward Bahamas. So 60, 90 nautical miles, get somewhere so you can see land whole. So if you're going, from Cuba that way, or you come from Bahamas or come from wherever else, but we got them on board. The crew was cheering. I mean, the cruisers, not the crew. Everybody was like, "Yay, we saved them!" So they got them on, and they I thought they would have left the boat. Like that they were in. They brought the boat on board. So up underneath, they washed it, and they drew it in, and evidently they throw one on the front, one on the back, turn the boat around, and it brings it up inside of it. Right.
Cool.
I got pictures. I'll send you guys some pictures of it because it happened on the port side. My wife just happened to be outside on the balcony, and she said, "What is going?" And she looked over. She's like, "Oh my goodness!" So she texted me. I'm just like, "What?" So that made me go outside to see what was going on. But got in there. Coast Guard picked them up at the next stop. So, but that was my adventure, right? So there you go. That's all I got.
Epic voyage, sir. Thank you. Andrea, what about you? What'd you do over the holidays?
Was very quiet. My nephew's home from his first semester at school, so I got to hang out with him a little bit and hear about his stuff. Saw the new Avatar Way of Water movie.
Great movie.
What did I watch?
Those underwater scenes in 3D. Did you see it in 3D?
We didn't see it in 3D.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. It was a great movie.
But I will tell you my funny story is, Edward heard this already, but so I had my first work trip in 3 years. That had to be escalated, up the chain to get travel approval. It's been so long since I have packed for a work trip. I get up Monday morning, meeting is at 8:30. I get up, I'm getting dressed. I have my suit and flip-flops. That's it. And it's 8:30 in the morning. There's nowhere I can go. There's no store that sells shoes that is open at 8 a.m. So I had to go to my meeting in flip-flops. So very exciting.
Wow. That's amazing. Do you also have pictures to share?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I sat there the whole time. I had my backpack on the floor and I just kept my feet hidden behind the backpack, hoping no one would notice.
She told me that on text. I laughed like, oh yeah. Right. Funny. Strutting around. This is a new style.
That's funny. I don't go down south, as we say all that often, but on the 2 work trips I had to fly through Atlanta, I was surprised at how many people just board the airplane and what they came off the beach with.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just walking around the terminal, just flip-flops, maybe a kind of shirt and like a neck pillow thing, and they're just like, all right, cool. Yeah.
The best part about cruises, though, you get to meet people from all over. I mean,
I bet.
everywhere, right? We had a few Canadians there.
Oh,
they were fleeing the weather. Met
hey.
a couple of folks from Toronto, Calgary,
Toronto.
2 more Canadian locales. I can't remember. Friendly people, right?
Oh yeah, it's federal law. We have to be friendly.
It is really okay.
Yeah, federal law.
No such law is passed in the United States as of yet. We'll see. Yeah. Andrew, something else that you and I chatted or talked about. Did something else happen? Oh yeah, you were stuck on the tarmac for a while. Yeah,
and Brodie, we told you this too. But the air traffic controller in the state of Florida was down for like 4 hours. I'm waiting to hear if that was some kind of cyber attack. So
I was going to say, how do we tie your vacation to a security learning moment? And that, you never know. You never know for sure. Did you connect to the Wi-Fi on your plane and start trying to port scan everybody?
I did not.
Weird. Yeah, that's the first thing I do when I connect.
Your holiday, Brodie?
Thank you for asking. We went to the mountains. We went to British Columbia, and I got a few snowboard days in, which was just lovely. And I had some just do nothing days. And Trevor Smith, I know who that is. Folks in the chat. Speaking of chat, super quick. I've started thinking about like how I start my day every day at work, and I gotta say I love our Discord channel. Shout out to our Discord channel, friend of the show. We've got the news aggregator going on that was set up by our amazing moderation team, and because he's not here, Rod Trent like posts like a bajillion times a day. I'm pretty sure he's actually got somebody working for him that does that. I don't know how he keeps up. And between him and other amazing Microsoft security MVPs, I find it's just a great way to kind of like level set on what's going on that day. It's like just a great aggregator. So Trevor Smith, who I just called out for all those people who are not watching the stream, he's one of our moderators, and we argue about the proper acronym for Defender for Endpoint. He says DFE, and it's obviously not DFE; it's MDE. But anyway, we'll save that for another day. So just anyway, if you have an opportunity, my security moment is come on down to the Discord channel, come check out the news aggregator, come get involved in the community. It's been great, and it's part of recharging over the holidays. Rod's in the chat too. Look at that. Rod's here. Oh yes, Rod Trent's not here today. He's not feeling well, but it looks like he's in chat, so that's great. So they'll be just posting a bunch of terrible acronyms for the next half hour, I'm sure. Yeah, and part of it was also I didn't actually take holidays between like there's that 3-day week that we had. I didn't actually take any time off because it's just so slow. There's not really anything going on, so I used that time just to do a little bit of training. And I got my SC200 renewed. I took a bunch of soft skills training stuff that Microsoft has for us, which is actually really good. I'm just going to say, like, sometimes training that is required of you sucks, right? I think we've all been there. Sometimes there's sucky training. The training that I've been taking lately has been actually really good, like around stakeholder management, situational fluency, stuff like that. It's been really important because there's a big technology aspect, obviously, to what we all do in security, but every customer you work with has different stakeholders and politics and, who does what and where and who signs off on this thing. And if you want to be an effective professional in any regard, like, you got to learn to manage that. And that's not the area that I come from, right? I come from like the big tech background, tinkering and then working my way up. So my security moment would probably be to encourage everyone to not only take some time to learn the latest and greatest in terms of the technology side of security, but also how you manage not only others, but how you manage yourself in difficult conversations and ways that you can better prepare for difficult conversations and how to pivot quickly and how to present multiple options, how to be prepared going into situations. Because if you get all of that dialed, you can get past a lot of the blockers or issues that may come up in order for you to like make that big gain, in assisting or improving your own security posture. So that's kind of my 2 cents. Other than that, vacation was chill. It was super chill. Yeah.
I took your approach early in my career. I may have had 2 IT jobs while I was part of support. I wanted to consult, and all my peers or my mentors back then were salespeople. I'm like, you got to learn to get in front of people. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to read the room. You got to be able to, do all the things you talked about. So that's the reason I highly recommend young people that are getting into the field. Yep, tech is important. You got to be able to do what they're paying you for. But you got to have some soft skills. As a matter of fact, you don't even get to differentiate those as soft skills anymore. These are essential, right? If you're going to get in front of people. So I like that aspect of it.
Cool. And
Andrea,
look how far it's got you, Edward. Like, I want to be you when I grow up. So if it helped you, it can help me, and it can help everybody out there.
Some people just glutton for punishment. They don't know. Andrea, you consulted for a while, right?
No, I never have. I mean, I've always either worked at a company or here.
Yeah, I consulted because it also got you the ability to, travel on the company's dime or the customer dime, whoever dime's paying for the flight. And you learn a lot. Even if you're working on a singular technology, is what you said, Brodie, the situations of each project implementation is different. So I'm using all the same ingredients, but I'm getting a different result at the end. So I'm getting all the same ingredients to make this dish, but because this customer is very specific, some like it spicy, some like it bland, some don't like their foods to touch. Me, touch my food on the plate, keep it separate.
Yeah, totally. And we're all just and we all communicate differently, and the people we communicate to receive information differently, and then they have to cross collaborate. And so it's when you actually sit down and start learning about it, and you realize we're all unique, right? There's no other Edward or Andrea in the universe, and there never will be. You're an absolute unique individual, and that's amazing. But humans do fall into some buckets, right? You can kind of classify us in groupings when it comes to communication styles or how you receive information. And some of these courses are actually really good at identifying kind of like, the larger buckets that everyone kind of falls into and how you can cross collaborate with one another. So yeah, while we're all unique and amazing in our own different ways, it's not like it's impossible. And if you start learning about it and actually like educating yourself on it, you're like, oh, okay, I'm a driver and I need to work with this inspirational person. And this is some faults we may have, and this is some ways that we can better communicate and things of that nature. And again, like whether it's security or anything in life, relationships, it's going to help you get to that next point in your career and help you work on major projects and implementations.
I beg to differ with Andrea. She said she hadn't consulted. Did you consider Microsoft as part of that? Because you and I consulted together for 2 years.
Oh, that's true. I guess I think I've never worked at a consultant, but yes, I have certainly, served in consulting.
You and I sat on the podium several times, going to these partners, and partners were our customers. So we were consulting them, training them, helping them build line of business and go-to-market offerings. So we did that for a second. I never worked at a big 6 or nothing, a big 4 or whatever they are, like Deloitte or Boosham or none of that, EY, none of that stuff. But yeah, it was something else I wanted to mention too.
Consulting, security. Yeah, that was a security moment, another learning. Did you try to break into another thing on your vacation, or?
There is no try. There's only do.
Yeah, well, is it really breaking in if you just opened a doorknob, right? That was unlocked, and then going down an elevator that didn't require a badge. So have you done it? Have you ever done physical pen testing or social engineering work? Tell me about that. I'd always love to just dabble in that, right? Not as a career, but like just to be able to dabble in it. It sounds so interesting. I think I'd be good at it.
If you're a social engineer and you're trying to get physical access to something, if I can get physical access to your environment, this is back in the day. In this day and time, it's much tougher, especially if someone does have, controls in place, not only for data transmission, but physical. But back in the day, you really only had to overcome one person. Whoever was sitting at that front desk when you walked in, he or she, if you got them on your side, you come in, hey, I'm delivering some equipment. I've walked in some places with an empty box, and they're like, just take it to the warehouse. I don't know why they didn't tell you to go to the warehouse. Okay, how do I go back? And is the door open? Yeah, the door is open. Cool. Going in, right?
Yeah.
Going into places, jumping on someone's, network, see if it's flat. If it's not flat, throw your little box on there with a DHCP server. And now you're the new gateway, right? So you look at what range they're giving. You can put yours on. Let's do that.
Cool, man. Cool. And was this was this a career? Did you do this? Oh, cool. Okay. How long did you do that for?
Like 2.5 years.
Wow. And so it starts off with somebody at the organization wants to bring you in to test how their controls are physical and technical. And
I was never the team lead. So we have a complete penetration assessment playbook, right? And you get to choose what you were good at. Remember, I started my career in networking. So that was a natural progression, right? We get to the network. And, I'm plugging in. This is before people really understood you really need to segment your network with VLANs. Now I have a flat network. Don't get the manipulating the subnet mask so you get a gazillion IP addresses on one flat network. That does anybody good, right? That's lazy. Firewalling, it's K-manish back in the day that I did it as compared to now.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Well, I know the old saying is like, if you can get in anywhere if you got like a hard hat, a high-vis vest, and a clipboard. But I have a feeling it's a little different these days for like major organizations. But who knows? I mean, obviously it still happens, right? So that would be a cool gig.
There are some still old hacks I learned from like Black Hat, DEF CON, a few other boards back in the day that still work. I utilized one 5 years ago. Yeah. And I'll tell everybody offline it is. It has something to do with your badge to the door and your hotel key. Shoot. And I showed a guy. He's like, what? Matter of fact, he was on the show. Oh, golly. He worked. I can't think of his name now. He's over at Red Canary. But I showed him. He's like, oh, man, that's not going to work. This is more James Bond stuff. Give me a key. Yeah. Door open up.
Cool.
I was such a rock star. He bought me beer the rest of the week. Right?
Oh, like, cool.
Yeah.
Fun, man. Fun. That'd be a fun gig to get into. That'd be really cool. Really cool.
It's one of the harder jobs. If you're saying you're a red teamer, you can't BS. Either you can't. Most red teamers are coders.
Yeah.
You got to be able to look at the code, right?
Yeah, I hear you can specialize. Like you can specifically specialize in just social engineering and like walk on penetration testing, air quotes over here, versus like network red teaming or external or internal red teaming from a technical penetration standpoint.
And believe me, the stuff that you hear, it's real. You go out, you can buy a UPS, uniform online, FedEx, whatever. Yeah, it's not far-fetched. It's people go through extremes to do it. In this modern age, see how far they'll let you get into the building when you DoorDash or Uber Eats.
Smart,
like that, right?
Smart. Hey, I got a pizzas for the 130th floor. Yeah, I gotcha.
And it works. If you show up with a bunch of food and everything, say, hey, we're catering, blah, blah, blah. I think it's on the 8th. Where's everybody sit? 8th. It's going to the 8th.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, we'll badge you in if we don't want that food to get cold for that important meeting. Yeah, totally.
Oh, and then you go, you want me to make you a plate and bring back? Oh, thank you. You can bring something. I'll bring something back.
Oh, that's good. That's a really cool gig. Hey, what about you, Andrea? Give us a cool job you had in the past. Good security job in the past, technology job you had in the past. This is a cool topic.
I don't know that I had any cool ones.
Oh, you must have. Come on.
Well, my first IT job was at Outback Steakhouse. So I guess the cool thing about that was that you got 50% off anytime you went to an Outback property. So at Outback or Carrabba's or Bonefish, Fleming's, you got 50% off. So that was pretty sweet. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know that I've done anything. I mean, I've done lots of things, but I don't know that they were cool things, other than, of course, working with Edward.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
see, she's got the woo. That's why she'd be good at the social engineering gig. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
she tolerated me. I wouldn't say words right, mess people names up right backwards. We made a good team. We made a good team.
Hey,
And,
when you read, do you read the words mispronounced?
Yes.
I wanted to drop
That's
that.
not
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually do. So when I'm reading it, I am in my mind, when you hear your own voice, I mispronounce it in my head. All right.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, tell everybody to get an easier name. How about that? No one can say anything to me, because to this day, 80% of the people that meet me still call me Ed. My name is not Ed. It's Edward.
I started short forming you early on in our relationship, and you made it very clear it was Edward. I'm like, okay.
No, don't make you seem like I was some butthole.
You were a huge
Edward.
butthole.
No, I was
Butthole.
not.
No.
Like, look, take for instance, Mr. Roderick Trent. His name is
Roderick.
not Rod, it's Roderick.
Roderick.
Well, Roderick, when he used to get bullied and wedgie in high school and everything, then he got cool, right? I'm Rod now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take his lunch money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roderick Trent, friend of the show. Hope to have you back on soon.
Yeah, I hope he feels better.
Eduardo.
I miss you, Rod.
I got called Eduardo several times in Mexico. Eduardo. Yeah.
Eduardo.
Sure.
Eduardo.
Yeah.
I worked at a heli skiing company. Did IT. That was pretty fun.
What company?
Heli skiing, helicopter skiing.
Oh,
so,
heli skiing.
Yeah, so there's lodges in BC, and you would, I mean, it's everything. I mean, first off, just getting Wi-Fi to these places is a challenge. Whether it's directional antennas or satellite, et cetera, environmental things. Sometimes you could get guides to go up in the helicopter and like get a shovel and like bang off snow that's like accumulated on like metal towers because they lost signal, right? So that was a fun gig. I got to fly and ski a bunch. I learned a lot there. That's when I first started getting my hands dirty on like virtualization and storage, because we had like a couple racks in the back room, and that was fun. That was probably my most fun gig. I got to do a lot of cool, neat stuff, and it set me up for consulting. Having that like sysadmin everything from like, hey, the printer's broken, come kick it, to like, oh, we've had our first ransomware attack ever, what's that, and then having to deal with that. It was a fun job.
Yeah, those are the ones you learn the most.
Oh yeah. I had no idea, right? When it happened, it was like I kind of heard about ransomware, and like my friends and I, we always kind of mess around and cause problems on computers, so like I wasn't like immune to the negative aspects of what it could do, right? But like you start looking, like somebody reports it, and then like the antivirus didn't pick it up, and it's like into the shared network drive, and it's going through alphabetically, very slow. They're very quick now by comparison. And like, what are the departments at the top? Well, it's like accounting, finance. Like it's like not good departments to have files locked. It was locky.
I have a prediction. I have a prediction for 2023.
Oh, good. I like this predictions. Let's do predictions. Yeah, go ahead.
You're going to see the percentage of people paying the ransom go down, 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 because you're starting to see large organizations like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. Right? You can't trust the data.
No, you can't trust the criminal. They're just gonna read, and there's so many situations. Sorry to cut you off. There's so many situations, Edward, where it's like they just do it again. They just blackmail you again, or they offshore it to somebody else to sideload blackmail you, or maybe they just kept the data. You have no idea that they're going to hold up their end of the bargain or where your data ended up. Like it's just why pay?
If I'm a person in charge, and we had the unfortunate things. Well, you need to pay this, or we're going to release all this data. You already have. You have it. It's no longer in my control, up under my stewardship. I'm no longer the custodian of this data. You have it. So I'm supposed to trust you as an honorable thief?
Right.
I tell you what, how about you come pick up the ransom in person?
Yeah.
No, I promise you, we'll give it to you and let you go.
Yeah, totally. Right? I got a pack of beer, my favorite craft beer. I'll help sweeten the deal. Yeah.
You know what? I could solve the ransomware problem right here.
Go ahead.
First, I got to solve Congress and the Senate, right? But if I could solve those two things, make paying the ransomware illegal.
Ooh. Okay, so conceptually, I love that idea. Now, if we like step through that a little bit, and recently there was an article that came out, it was a sick kids hospital and the ransomware
Yes,
actors,
I was going to say that, Brodie.
Yeah, gave them the key because sick kids, all right? So are some humans out there, which is great. But like, let's say it's a medical institution and like everything's locked and your online recovery time objective is 7 days versus pay ransomware with insurance, which may or may not be valid, to get you everything back within 24 hours. What do you do, right?
You're young to this. Me and Andrea have been in this game a little bit longer than you have.
Please tell me, sir.
It used to be an honor among hackers that you didn't go after two entities in particular. You left hospitals alone and education. That's no longer the case.
Right.
It's state actors, and this is a national security thing. So you said, part of the thing I say in consulting, like I proposed something to you, a customer, you came back and said, what about this? So as a consultant, I come back and say, okay, let's not make it draconian and absolute. We put a cap on what's the maximum you can pay without violating the law. So now the hackers know that they're not going to break the law. This is the max we're going to get. You'll start seeing this. No one is immune to it, no matter how much money you have, how large you are, and all this, right? So what you have to do is just hold serve. It's like playing defense on the NFL. I think Frank gave it one of the better analogies around that. You're trying to force the bad guys to punt the ball, right? And you start over. So you put them on the back end of the field, and then they got to start over. And as soon as they get in your red zone, they turn over and down. You got to go back.
I remember that analogy. It's a great analogy.
One of my favorite stories about ransomware, I just popped it in the chat, is when the Teamsters got hit by ransomware in 2019, they refused to pay. They were like, F you, and they rebuilt their whole thing from scratch. They were like, we don't care how long it takes us. We don't care what we lose. We refuse to pay. And I just thought that's such a Teamster thing to do.
When I first came to Microsoft, I was involved with some of the same thing, and then we're on Ross's team together. Andrew, you hadn't gotten in yet, and this customer refused and came up and spoke at a 3-day seminar and said, "This is what we had to do," right? And they were not a global company of sort, but they weren't small. And the CISO/CTO side, this was a learning moment. Paying the ransom doesn't teach you anything, right? It allows you to go in and patch the holes that allowed you to be in that position, but are you really learning anything? So he said, we'll do it from scratch. So they rebuilt their data integrity, their data modeling, their networking. They said, we spent this money. And the next day he said, so we get all this stuff done and we get hit again. And it was because of a vendor, right? And now they had to consider that attack vector. So they went back through the whole exercise and that was it. And he was singing the praises of E5. You might have been there on the team, Andrea, because Matt Sosmas was with me doing this presentation.
Yeah, I don't remember that story, but
he was in Atlanta. Me and Matt presented at the same time. Remember that?
Cool. Matt Sosman, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Matt. I don't know why we're not up at the top list of things I must read every day, but
on Matt's blog, yes, I did hear you shoehorned us in there because of our existing relationship. So thank you, Edward. Yeah. Okay. So lowered ransomware payments, whether or not there's going to be a law. I mean, doesn't seem like anything gets passed easily these days. So okay, so overall, you think and is this because companies have hardened or improved their defenses and then the recovery plans? Is that why? Or
Well,
what's your logic behind that?
I like working backwards. So the reason that you're having this, you have this huge proliferation, and we don't really look at all the data sets, which I'm like a minority report. I'm getting the data sets. One of the biggest contributor of it is because cybersecurity, because the hackers believe you have an insurance policy, so somebody's going to pay. And these underwriters that are writing these cybersecurity policies, they have a group totally dedicated to figure out how not to pay you. Did you check this box? Did you do this? Did you do this?
Right,
so
right.
If the people have the perception that you have cyber insurance, they know that you're going to get the money from somewhere, right? And so I think that it's also a sense of, I have cyber insurance, so something go bad, it's going to pay for it. No, it's not. The cyber insurance is always going to be lacking. The amount of effort, time, morale, degradation, people being worked to the bone, right? And then you got to bring consultants in. I wonder if I can say this on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Andrea, stop me if you know what I'm talking about. Stop me if I say this. How long did this debacle in Atlanta last? Remember that?
I do.
Our friend was down there working. Wasn't Mandy down there? Did you have to go?
I didn't have to go, but it was a nightmare. It was people on site sleeping there for a week, if not longer.
Oh man.
Yeah, I remember that. That affected me because I live here.
I was just sitting here and I was looking through all of the articles that were talking about top cyber trends for 2023. And they all are exactly the same. And honestly, they're all the exact same cyber trends as 2022. So there's nothing, I don't think 2023 is going to be anything that we'll see anything shocking and different, right? It's still ransomware. It's still state-sponsored activity. Still, train your users, which I think that's an interesting question too. Like if you have to count on your users not clicking on something for security, I'm not sure that means you're all that secure.
Security awareness is a big thing. You got to make people feel part of the solution rather than, if something happens, I'm the fall guy, I'm gonna get it fired. Be positive about it. I don't. Our jobs are thankless. Nobody comes and say, "Oh, great job from keeping us from getting hacked," right? They go,
it's a double-edged sword. Why do we pay you? We've never been hacked. Or why do we pay you? We've just been hacked. Right? Like, yeah. Yeah, totally. I get you, man. I get you. Okay, well, Andrea, it's like all these websites are just saying the same stuff.
They're all the same thing.
What do you think? What do you think? 2023, and we can go with wild ideas here. What do you think is going to happen in the cybersecurity domain in 2023? That's new or unique.
Not that I would love to see it, but what sounds like a movie is, have y'all played with the Chat GPT bot yet?
A little bit, yeah.
So I was so super impressed by it. I was just asking it some KQL questions, some PowerShell questions.
Yeah, Rod's going to get put out of a job. Yeah.
How to write a romance novel. I mean, anything that you ask it, it brings you back a pretty decent answer. And my thought is, are we going to have an AI that gets asked a question that proceeds to become a sci-fi movie
Self-aware.
and heads down the path of destroying something or creating something dangerous? I don't know.
And it'll probably be me that ends the world, because I'm going to ask the thing, if you're so smart, weren't you in charge?
That's a good one, actually. That's terrifying.
The movies always have, we have safeguards in place for that, but somehow.
And then after the fact, we'll come up with Defender for AI. Right?
That is.
Oh yeah, put it on your sticky notes. Yeah. I love that, Andrew. That's really interesting. Or if you could like get Chat GPT to be like, hey, how do I break into this power plant? Or just like
yes, if you have, oh my, yes, you can sit here and say, how would you gain access to this particular environment? And you probably feed it a bunch of data sets, public exposed IP addresses, everybody's name, everybody's email, everybody's that works at a company from LinkedIn, put that in some type of, unstructured data table, because you can go do reconnaissance, right? The secret of doing any good penetration testing, which is definitely different from vulnerability testing and assessment, is you could recon. Recon is the thing. Everybody wants to post their promotion, where they went to college, and all these things, and they make it so easy, right? And they got to, and I can go into a room and bullshit you, right? In Georgia, all you got to go is go dogs. You go, go dogs.
That's good.
And you're in, right? Oh yeah. So, and there was a lot of Georgia fans on the ship. When I tell you, it was sweating bullets. I mean, it was a lot of brown liquor drink at the bar, a lot, right? And they pulled that game out. It was different. So, hey, Brodie, did you get your box?
Okay. So prediction in a sec. It's supposed to be here today. Hold on, I'm gonna go check because I told DHL I don't want to have to sign for it, and they said it was gonna get here tomorrow. I'm like, oh damn, I wish it'd get here today. Let me just check. Please. No, it's not here yet. It's probably gonna show up like 1 minute after the show's over. But yes, I can't wait. I can't wait to receive Southern Santa's gift. I've got some beat up old ASICs downstairs, and I'm pretty sure you're sending me some Black Men Run ASICs. Is that what's coming in here, Edward?
First of all, I'm sponsored by Saucony.
Oh, pardon me.
ASICs is European, man. They do well in London. They do very well in London. I used to run the ASICs, but every time you get used to their brand, they change it. Which made me get into a habit. Like when I bought a shoe, I put about 10 miles on it. If I liked it, I ran back to the store and bought 2 more pair. Because they're going to change. You won't get the same pair. They don't fit.
Right? Yeah, that's fair. I've got a pair of hiking boots that I've had for years, and I'm worried that when I finally retire them and I go buy the equivalent pair that came out this year, it's not going to be the same workhorse that I've had for years now. So I get you on footwear. That's fair, man.
I bought me some boots.
Yeah?
I got me some cowboy boots.
Hey, speaking of that, I might come down to Austin, Texas this year. So I'll be out for a customer visit. So and one of the good people there was like, you should get some boots while you're here. I'm like, okay, all right, sure. So that just reminded me. Prediction. I think we're going to have a much more public-facing operational technology cyber event than in years past, right? A lot of these have been like Saudi Aramco and the water treatment plant Oldsmere. Like they happened, of course, and I'm not an expert, everybody. Let's just call that out right now. Localized areas heard about this more. It ballooned, some of these news stories ballooned up to national and international news media. But I think for whatever reason, whether it's incidents overseas or somebody messing around with more domestic systems, I think we're going to see something affect a large population in terms of critical infrastructure due to an OT event in 2023. I think we're due, and I think it's going to. There's already been a lot of work been put in U.S., Canada, Western countries, right, to try to shore this up. But I just think there's an event coming that's really going to be like the catalyst to really like push that more forward than it has been in the past. And I don't say that lightly. Obviously, that type of event is significant and severe, and anybody impacted by that.
I think it's going to be a COVID-19 event. I believe it's going to be something like shutting down the entire shipping lanes of a cargo company or something like that. And then now you got multinational stuff. People aren't stupid, unless they're suicidal. Like when you start attacking nuclear power plants with the sole thing of causing them to go critical, now you got a problem, right? I said that there was going to be a major and catastrophic cloud event that was going to be independent of what cloud you're in. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you called that out recently. It was like on the last show, I think, maybe before the break. I think you called that out as a prediction.
I've been saying for years it's coming. Heartbleed, Spectra, all that. Yeah, but it's gonna be something. and then people are going to go, oh, and I bet it's just going to be bad habits for folks who's coming from a data center mindset that's coming to the cloud and bringing their habits, or maybe the migration is going to expose something someone never imagined or thought about. Like, wow, I didn't think that could happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think that including the ransomware drop in actual payments, I think that security, belated last.
Belaying.
Actually, belated last.
Belaying. Well, that's
We
easy
will.
prediction. Cybersecurity as an industry is going to grow, and cybersecurity professionals are going to get into this career. There's more and more people getting into it out of school now. I've got mentees that I'm working with, and this is what they wanted to do coming out of school, right? That's really cool. It's really cool we're getting there. So there's a ton of opportunity for anybody listening. You already know this, right? But tell your friends, tell your colleagues. There's tons of opportunity in security, right? Not because of this FUD or these outlandish predictions that we're making here, but because it's honestly a really fun and rewarding career. So I think this will be good. I think 2023 will be good.
Yeah, I actually started looking at my trip next year for Australia and New Zealand. I've already started looking, right? So,
back in vacation mode. That's cool.
Well, Paul, our friend from down under, just logged in. So
look at that. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul. Perfect. Yeah, you're
Can
gonna
I tell
row.
you about? I've been listening to the Friendship Onion podcast, which is if anybody Lord of the Rings fans here, the guys who play Merry and Pippin in the movies, they became best friends during the filming. And they have a podcast called The Friendship Onion, and it is so delightful. If you just want to just have a delightful hour-long podcast, it is. The two of them are such good friends. They're just like, no, you're the loveliest person. No, you're the loveliest person. And it's just adorable. So I highly recommend it.
Sort of like you and I.
Exactly.
There you go. Friendship Onion.
You two are adorable, and that is now subscribed to my phone. Thank you, Andrea, for that recommendation.
It's
That's perfect.
delightful.
Oh, that's probably a good switch up because like all of my podcasts are international news, cybersecurity.
If you listen to NPR, listen to Hidden Brain.
Hidden Brain?
I think I said something to our group.
Yeah, listen to one that's not good for you, like the one I just mentioned, or it's good for you in a different way. It's good for your psyche, not your intellect.
Yes.
Sometimes we need some things that are good for our heart.
Totally. That's kind of where I was getting at with that comment, Andrea. Yeah.
I need more of that. I need to be, as my wife would say, you need to be less serious.
I feel like I tend to bring in a lot of data, so I have to go out of my way to try and bring in some heart. So
yeah. I want to feel good in 2023. I'm mentally fatigued. I mean, I don't even turn the TV on unless I'm watching Sports Center, cartoons, or House of Dragon or something like that. I don't watch the news is insidious, right? Like,
have you watched? What's it called? For All Mankind. Have I brought this up yet? Andrea
you have not, but I've seen it. Yeah.
You've seen it? Okay. Have you seen Edward? Oh my God. Okay. I have Space Nerd coming out here. You've got to watch For All Mankind. It starts off where the Soviet Union beats the US to landing on the moon first. And it creates this alternate history of events where just like oodles of money gets poured into the space program. And it just, the whole show, like I was glued to my TV. Like I was just downstairs, like binge watching, staying up till 1 a.m. with calls at 8. Like I couldn't. So if you're a space guy or person listening or watching, check out For All Mankind. I gotta recommend that as a TV show.
Yeah, I gotta find some good TV 23. I actually sat down and watched Black Adam. I came in thinking it was going to be sort of garbage. It was an honest effort.
It was an honest effort. The Rock is the only reason that movie probably panned out. We went and saw it too. I got a little bit of an echo here.
Well,
honestly,
there were for a comic book guy like me, there were 4 glaring holes in the movie. I have no spoilers here, but how he got his powers versus the story that was told, a bunch of other stuff. And but overall, I think that the cinematography was pretty good. And then, in the end, Andrea's man crush flies in with his S on his chest. Did you meet him personally? You met him at like Starbucks, didn't you?
So my friend who used to work here at Microsoft, when he retired from Microsoft, opened a coffee shop down in Fort Lauderdale. And so, which was somewhere near where Henry Cavill was shooting a movie. And so Henry would come in there like on a daily basis. And so Bob would let us know when he was around.
So I would like to have seen what would have become of that, but I think the new owners of Marvel, Disney, whomever else is basically, they cancel everybody. You're not making any more movies, right? I think he's done with Witcher also.
One more season will be coming. I did watch. Anybody watch Witcher Blood Origin? I did watch that.
No.
Oh, about the other Witcher guy?
It's like a prequel, kind of.
Yes. Yeah, so I saw it pop up in Flash and watched it. I'm going to watch that. I wrote it on my board, say, hey, watch this. And what else?
I'll take a look. I think my wife did, Andrea. That's a good call out. I haven't watched that. I honestly didn't play the game. I know the game's the video game's ultra popular, and I've never played it.
Yeah, I don't play video games, but
Trevor Smith just became one of my besties. I love Stargate.
That was great. Yeah, Trevor Smith, thumbs up. Trevor Smith in chat, friend of the show. Stargate was great.
Just saying, Blood Origin.
Movie. I'm gonna check Blood Origin out. The movie. Kurt Russell, the series. With MacGyver, Stargate, Atlantis, Stargate. I forget they were all good. It's so hard to reboot that because, that series ran forever on Sci-Fi Channel. So how do you start and stop it? It's long. That was one of my favorite shows. I very rarely reread or rewatch anything. I'll do that.
Good call. That was a good
one. The Gaould.
Yes, the Gaould.
Go.
Well, okay, so we talked about holidays, we did security moments, we're doing predictions for 2023.
How do you really feel, Rod?
What's he dropping? Oh, okay. Here we go. This is when Rod wanted to get into a debate about like Star Wars versus Star Trek or the new Star Trek movies. I'm not opening that debate again right now. We could be here for another hour. So yeah, I know your wife's coming soon, Edward, to break down the door and demand that food be consumed. So, Edward, do you just want to speak to this amazing lineup of guests we got over the next few months? I mean, like, I'm blown away. I don't know about you, Andrea. I'm blown away with who's gonna get to come on and talk to our listeners and viewers. Like, it's really exciting. 2023 is going to be awesome for Microsoft.
Yes, we promise you guys it will not just be us jawing away. We'll actually bring some value to you. Promises.
Yeah. Yes. Promises. We've actually been working behind the scenes, getting some order to this Wild Wild West, where it's scheduling guests, we're not stepping on each other's toes. People are asking to come on now, and we're booked, right? For the short term. The keynote or the high profile one will be obviously February 1st, Ann Johnson. But we got some great folks coming in, talking everything from MDE to MDO. Looks like we're going to try to dedicate a month for women in cyber, right? Yes. To go beyond just talking about what they do. I want to hear how you got in. What were your challenges? What would you like to change, right? That's a story behind that. Because if you're in it, I know you're good. You're there. I want to know, how did you get to this point? Sometime in the year, I want to have a month dedicated to partners, right? So we're not having them spot come in, right? We're just going to have a partner series. That's about it. I actually don't have the calendar up in front of me. Thank you for getting the calendar working, Brodie. I can see everything. Be surprised what will happen if you reboot your device.
And we've got at Microsoft, turn it off, turn it back on again. And we've got Nathan Swift on next week. There are some folks asking. So Nathan Swift's coming back on. He's awesome, friend of the show. Who else we got here? Nathan Swift next week. We got Chris Stelzer going to come on and talk about a number of cool security items following that. Craig Fretwell after that, and then Ann Johnson. So January and the start of February. Wow. Yeah.
Craig, I'm looking forward to Craig. He's out of the UK. He's a big kill chain Sentinel guy, Azure AD. I've chatted with him. I'll follow back up with him soon. Yeah, I think we're going to have some really, really good shows. I wish the world was normal so we could really plan like, hey, let's all of us meet at Ignite, or we meet at Ready, or just, who knows.
Hey, if we do a good job with Ann Johnson and a few other high-profile names that are in the works, the sky's the limit here. And if we ride Rod Trent's coattails, I mean, we got this, man.
I'm going to ride his sick coattails. He's got the cooties.
Well, I will say, and y'all, we have some ideas for some, we're going to get into some blogging this next year too, not just the podcast. So you'll be able to read us, watch us, listen to us. What else? We should probably, again, wrap it up before Miriam comes. Does anybody have quick New Year's resolutions to share?
Somebody dropped the idea of a New Year's theme instead of a resolution. So I'm going to go with theme just being wellness, mental, physical, if you're into that type of thing, spiritual wellness. I think I can just paint that brush, right? And it encompasses a lot of things. And it's not like a hard and fast, like thou shall do this or you fail, So I think that's a really good way to look at how to improve yourself in a New Year's kind of mentality. Go ahead, Ed.
I have some personal stuff that's coming up that it's actually good news. If it comes to fruition, it's going to sort of change a lot about my life coming up here pretty soon. Awesome. You know what? I want to enjoy my career more. You can keep the job. I want to enjoy my career because they're not mutually inclusive, right? Your job is not your career, and I want to enjoy my career more. And if you guys could read my board, here are my career pro skills for 2023. GitHub, learning Go language, GCP certification, AWS certification, get my CISM, get my Linux certification. I need to understand Azure DevOps more than just know how to spell it, which I probably can't. And then I want to blog more. I mean, Andrea and Rod are prolific writers. I mean, she writes. She's schooled for writing. She's a writer. I want to write more, which is so crazy. I used to write. Andrew, when you and I worked together, what thing did I used to have ready every month? Remember the partner blog? I got to do this again, right? So Substack's on there. I want to learn that. And then the little easy ones is I want to go through that KQL detective because I'm starting to see people get the cool badges. Now I want to do it. So I was like, all right.
I have also been putting off that game. I need to play that. It looks really cool. Yeah, those games are really awesome.
And I'm going to cycle more. I got my bike tuned up the other day. Sweet. Tires and rims. Got me a dynamo for my trainer, so I had to go outside in the ice and slide down the street and get it run over by a side sweeper or something. Speak of the wife. That's all that I have.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to the new year.